Today, I have with me a being by the name of Astaete, and today it's going to be called Dreaming the Life. Now, Astaete came to me on Friday evening of this last week, and she said it's important that humans begin to grasp the idea that they are literally making the world up, individually and collectively. She said there's a lot of confusion, not because there's confusion, but because people are not focusing properly in a manner they ought to be. Many of you are surrendering your capacity to create, to articulate, to manifest by deferring to sources that are unreliable in terms of what you could think or not think. It is important you understand that you are each independently given an understanding and an awareness of all things in your DNA. In your DNA, all information for all the possibilities that humans can articulate creatively in this material dimension exists within your DNA. All knowledge, all experience from the biological realm of this earth is stored within each and every human being. The challenge that many of you face is that your attentions have been taken away from the very source your attention must be on in order for you to comprehend the truth of this information that is within you. Every one of you knows this. Every one of you knows that the truth is within you. She says she finds it fascinating that so many of us are looking outside ourselves, not realizing that the genesis of your life is within you. The genesis of all creation is within you. You came from within that. That part of you that is hearing these words, that part of you has all knowledge. You have all knowledge. To reverse this trend of the decentralization of your consciousness from where it is intended to operate from, you must understand the process of going within each other. You must understand the process of going within each other. All of you must do this. Go within to recognize again that the element of choice, the element of creation, is a matter of considerations of what is inside you, considering what is inside you, that you can alter and change any of the information inside of you. The question of my existence is quite simple. I have evolved through my experiences to this planet, and I am now in other realms that you might not comprehend, but understand that you exist in those realms too. The difference is you are fundamentally trapped in the illusion that this is the only place of experiential reality available to you, and nothing can be further from the truth. There is the nature of your consciousness that is not bound by flesh, but functions experientially through it. To liberate yourself from the limits of your senses is the very first step in learning this conception of learning to dream your life up, because you are all dreaming your life up. What you are experiencing right now is a dream that you are agreeing to, that you are giving life to. The very nature of your attention is creative. The very nature of your attention is creative, and the way you utilize that intention is creative, causing very specific changes in the very fabric of organization of matter. That the fundamentals of emotion are that they organize conditions of matter that you are experiencing as what you call your life, the life that you are dreaming right now, and the dream can be changed by you. Many of you experience dreams in what you call your state of sleep, but in that state of sleep, you are simply more aware that there are variances to reality, variances that should inform you that reality is something that is changing all the time, and that you can participate in that change. The dreams that you have at night tend to occur unconsciously, but these are effects of your creative process throughout what you call your waking hours, where you are consciously or unconsciously aligning yourself to what you know to be true or not. Quite simply, you are the dreamer of the life you are in right now. There may be some collusion between yourself and what you agree with other people. There may be a collusion between yourself and other people and what you agree with, and whatever it is you agree with becomes a part of your dream. There is so much evidence of this, even in the last several years of your civilization. You can see clearly that agreement has led to one experience of expression, just as disagreement will lead to another experience of expression. You cannot escape the fact that you are creating the dreaming of your life. You are the dreaming consciousness of your life. Until you understand that you, not the acquisition of information that you possess, but the way you utilize the information that you have acquired, in which you have in your possession, which is all very temporary. All of this life that you are making up is very temporary, but it is enough to give you, hopefully, the understanding that you can articulate very precise outcomes and circumstances in the process of creation. There is some difficulty getting through to some of you because the preconceived notions you have accepted about what is real and what is not real loans itself to very specific dispositions in terms of how you will view your ability to affect the creation of your life. What I have been seeing, as many others have been seeing, is that there is a huge deferral in the responsibility of creation. There is a huge deferral in the responsibility of your creation, in that you surrender your own capacity to manifest your own thoughts, to manifest your own actions to external agencies that can only offer you perception based on their unique vantage point in creation. In other words, what you need and require to be that which you are is unique and distinct to that which you are. Discomfort occurs when you surrender responsibility. And there is not one among you, those of you that find yourself in dire conditions, you have loaned yourself to ideas and information that are part of that creative process, or you have surrendered your capacity to think uniquely, and thereby, by that default, have caused certain things to unfold. But every one of you, wherever you are and whatever you are experiencing, is experiencing the manifestation, the effects of your own creative process. I want to bring the conception of what you call reincarnation or other lifetimes into this, because if you understand that there is a continuance in your consciousness where there is not the same continuance in your finite biology, that there are different stages of evolution based upon your consciousness and how it evolves. And if you understand that your consciousness evolves beyond each incarnate experience, then it would make more sense to you what one lifetime is after another, after another, after another. That you are, your biology cannot extend itself beyond a certain level of your creative process, unless you are in a vibrational state of consciousness that you would call love or joy, in which case biology can alter significantly versus a state of fear that organizes biology very differently. And there is a formula that can be understood, that there are states of energy that you call fear and states of energy that you call love, and the interaction of these two states in your lifetime give themselves to establishing the lifespan that you will experience in that individual form. That also lends itself to understanding that you must realize that you also carry forward with you what you have created and accumulated in consciousness in terms of knowledge and information. Some of you may be experiencing very horrible existences, thinking that there's something fundamentally wrong with you. And I just want to say that is not true at all. The fundamental error is in the believability of thinking that the information and the idea about who you think you are inaccurate to the truth of what you actually are. If you understand the distinction between your awareness, your thoughts, the emotional substance that you utilize, and your biology, you can begin to come to a better understanding and a greater responsibility over your life. If your body is suffering, it is an effect of a creative process. It's an effect of your dreaming, which is a collage of your thoughts, your emotions, your memories, your future considerations. All of these things loan itself to your experience in this life or previous lives or lives yet to come. There is a creative continuance in the ongoing dream that you find yourself existing in. And it is the process of understanding that you can articulate changes in the process of your mind, in the process of your body, in the process of the way you utilize or harness energy in the form of emotions to induce very specific experiences into your existence of time space as you are experiencing it in the existing lifetime you are perceiving right now. I came simply and gently to offer you the reality that you are the awareness that can function independent of thought, whether that thought originates within your own mind or thoughts that are established in your mind by your historical conditioning, or thoughts that you acquire of your own volition through dimensional movements in consciousness, where you encounter dimensional beings that do not function in time space as you do through your five sensorial world, but through the realm of consciousness, such as meditation or astral traveling or interdimensional communication, where you can acquire thought and information beyond the scope of what you can simply gather from this biological experience in this material world. But all innovation in this material world that you see does not come from this world itself. It comes from the touch points in your consciousness, where you connect to information, experience, and ideation outside the scope of the five sensorial world. For example, encountering us through this one or others that understand how to shift your awareness, or at least open yourself up to a greater funnel of information and consciousness that is available to everyone that is able to open that door within their own perceptual consciousness. Yes. I'm just asking her now, what does this all mean for the world? She says, the world is going to play itself out as it is playing itself out, but each and every one of you do not have to go down the same path as another. Remember, the finite condition of your body loans itself to understanding your creative process. The amount of time that you live biologically is very short compared to how you exist as consciousness, as an individualized awareness, moving from one touch point of physical reality to another through what you call the material realm, which is based in what you call time and space, but which you can alter and change the moment you engage information, knowledge, and experience that allows you to view your world differently than you did formerly. That is, you've acquired some new information today and you apply it in your world, and your world changes. But that's also requires that you be willing to question that information you require. Any information you garner that is new, put it through the filter of your reason, not through the filter of your biology, which is very different. The filter of your biology limits your range of creative expression, limits what you can dream up in your world to the realm of fear and um, happiness. The biology is very limited in terms of its scope of dimensional experience. Pleasure and pain, fear and love are polarities that it knows well only from the physical plane. Pain and pleasure being its most fundamental modality for comprehending or identifying that a certain reality is good or a certain reality is bad. But your awareness can transcend those limits, as is demonstrated by what so many people do that they have never done before. That allows you to grasp that when a change is made, the expression of biology changes significantly. A mere century ago, you could not have considered flight as you consider flight today. A mere century ago, you could never have considered such devices as electric cars. A mere century ago, you could not have considered people flying in little suits through the sky without any form of propulsion other than the falling of their body, allowing them to control that. This could not have been considered. New information, new ideation comes when you are able to step outside the framework of what is familiar to you. Wonderful, thank you. Drusilla's asking, how can we remember who we are? I've been trying for years now. Any advice? It is important you understand the nature of your being as it is with that body can only be shifted and changed when your perception is not localized to it, but you are not separate from it. Your awareness is not dependent on the physical sensorial apparatus. It is more dependent upon your capacity to recognize the distinction between yourself as the personality that you've been conditioned to believe you are, and the awareness that you are that observes the functionality of that personality, that is, the memories, the future considerations, the emotions, the biological actions. You as awareness can make the distinction between the different facets of consciousness that you utilize in your dreaming up of this life. And so that awareness that you are may be considered nameless. And does it matter if it is nameless? Does it matter if you are nameless, but you use a name while in that body? The awareness that you are independent of your thoughts is the one that you seek. Why do you seek to make it another label? Can you not be content in the being that you are? Can you choose to be content in being aware that you are a being aware? That awareness that you are can articulate changes in the structure of that biology, in the Akashic realm of the mind, that you as this nameless consciousness can do these things. The label is useless in that realm of creation. Labels are useless in that realm of creation. Labels are very handy in the process of manifestation and identification of things so that you can utilize them. But understand the nature of who you are. Do not be so eager to put a label to it. The nature of your experiencing of your being is significantly more valuable to you than the definition of it. And the minute you define your experience, that I am this or I am that, you have labeled yourself, you have placed a part of your consciousness into a finite conception. And this is what causes most suffering for most humans. They've placed themselves, this wonderful, almost limitless consciousness that you are has been placed into this little tiny container and left with the idea that this is all that you are. And this is a cause for great suffering, that body and that mind, which are incredible and remarkable instruments of the creative expression, but they are not meant to be that which defines you specifically. You actually came here to define this condition of mind and body very specifically. You came here to do this, to understand that your capacity to affect the conditions that you call matter, time, and space are unique to you as a consciousness. You can look upon any other species in this world that appears to be generally along a certain baseline of expression. Dogs and cats and birds, these other creatures, they follow a very specific baseline of manifestation that you as a human can transcend. As this human form, you can utilize this form in ways that those other creatures cannot. They have lived and will continue to live, some for many millions of generations, and if not thousands and thousands of centuries, much the same way as they do now, with very little diversity and variety, whereas you as a liberated consciousness can assert great diversity and expression through that unique form of your humanity. But do not be so hasty to define yourself as something. I have chosen the label to offer this one that he could comprehend, that I am this being called Astaete, which is something he does not understand or comprehend. The name has no real value or meaning to his consciousness, which is why I offered it him, but it gives him a point of location in consciousness wherein he and I can interact, where I can move information through this system without there being any preconceived information to interfere with what it is I'm saying to you. It is important. The labeling process is good for the definition of things in terms of their function, but not useful in terms of the evolution of your consciousness. Labeling yourself as a specific entity or a specific body restricts you greatly from fully articulating your limitless creative potential in a finite condition of experience. Wow, thank you. Thank you for that question, Drusilla. Really appreciate it. Question from Grace. How can we tap? And thank you for that super chat. I really appreciate it, Drusilla. Thank you so much. Grace is asking, how can we tap into inner wisdom, the wisdom of our soul that we have gathered from all our lifetimes, to use it in the current life more deliberately? Oh, wow. Grace, she is so excited that you've asked that question. She says that is the consideration that you want to open your mind to. You want to open up to the reality that all that is available to you right now. But you only need what you need in the moment of your being. So many of you would love to aspire to the level of what you would call a god or a demigod or a super being, but there is a process of being able to understand the functionality and the utilization of matter, time, and space creatively. You have seen conditions through your telescopes where you see stars exploding and expanding, and you see what in reality is an alteration in consciousness effecting a change in your conditions of time, space, and matter. There is nothing that happens in the material realm of consciousness that is not preceded with an alteration in the ideational realm of consciousness. In other words, an idea or an emotion set in movement generates very specific changes in your perception of time and space. And there's not one among you that could deny this, that all of your experiences have their foundation in qualities of thought and emotion, whether you are aware of them or not. If you possess them, they will have an influence in your life. If you've been given them, they will have an influence in your life. If you release them, that will have an influence in your life. But understand, your thought, once combined with emotional qualities, creates very specific events in time and space, including at the level of what you call the creation of galaxies, or the demise of a star, or the transmutation of life from one state to another. These are all effects of your awareness, or at least an awareness, coming to a place of contact with emotion and utilizing that emotion, and thereby creating a material result. Even your thoughts and feelings on a very basic level of being an individualized identity that you think you are has that same principle. If you have a thought and you have an emotion connected to that thought, or someone gives you a thought with emotion connected to it, it causes very precise changes in your condition and your experience of matter. Having knowledge of all of your lifetimes of experience available to you has always been a given. It is always there. But many of you seek to funnel it through very small things. How much money should I make? Or who should be my girlfriend? Or what can I do to have a good taste in my... Many of you have very limited funnels for your infinite consciousness. If you consider broadening your expression and your consideration of information, you'll be quite pleased at what you can manifest. But every one of you has at your disposal all knowledge. Every one of you has at your disposal all knowledge. But you have a funneling system in your existing mind and your existing personality, which you believe you are, that restricts you to that information. And so you think you can only look from within the framework of what you know. Very few of you ever considering looking at information you do not know. But you all know, without exception, that there is always an answer, always a solution. All of you know this, that suffering does not have to be the way, that pain does not have to define you, that love is a very powerful energy. All of you know this, but in the limited framework of belief, you find yourself cut off from a wealth of information that spans eternity. Wow. Thank you for that question, Grace. That was amazing. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that, Silver King. Question from Nancy. I need a purpose to be happy. What can I do? This illustrates my consideration appropriately. Again, you find yourself asking a question within the framework of what you already know and believe about yourself as being true, even though it is only one small facet of an infinite spectrum of knowledge that you have available to you. So you are asking a question from a perspective that is already limited. How can you possibly open your consciousness up to something else outside of what you know if you are seeking the answer for what you know within what you know? You cannot move beyond what you know if you are attached to it. If I believe that I cannot speak through another human soul, then how could I communicate through this one? I know I am free to communicate as long as the door is open. But if any of you have a closed door, how can we communicate with you? How can you open up to information that's beyond what you know if what you know is so cherished by you? If this is all you know, then that is all you will know. You will not be able to see. You will struggle within the framework of what you know, knowing there's more to what you do not know than what you know, but you do not know how to open that door because you're seeking to find something you do not know from within what you do know, and thereby you limit yourself from opening the door to limitless perception. So you want your purpose and you want your freedom. Learn to step outside of what you know and believe about yourself and consider what other possibilities could I introduce into my expression, into my mind, into my emotional field. And I can say to you the truth, if you bring an emotion to an idea, the idea becomes alive. Emotions give life to the dream of your life. And the moment you engage in emotion, you bring life into your life. Emotion is the movement of energy deliberately articulated by a consciousness that affects and interacts with matter, time, and space to induce changes in it. But you are not here to be purposeless. In fact, it is impossible for any one of you to not have some form of purposeful existence while you are living in a physical form. The very nature of that form is that it exists. The very nature of your awareness is that it exists. And one cannot exist and not have influence in the experience of existence. It just is too big a contradiction. Existence and awareness of existence necessitates an interaction with existence, thereby causing changes in that expression and experience of it. Wow. Question from Daniela. What to do if a person suffers from almost unbearable side effects and illness for over a decade? What is your advice to effectively change the biology now towards healing. Again, this one is challenged with several things. The nature and cause of this condition. Yes. To fully and completely indicate to this one their ability to introduce a new emotion into their consciousness, to introduce a new emotion into the body, regardless of the resistance of the existing emotional energy, which, from what you are saying, is great suffering physically. But again, conditions of matter are influenced by qualities of emotion, both acquired and created. Qualities of emotion can be acquired and created. Is this one's emotional condition acquired or created? Did they acquire it from their environmental conditioning, or did they manifest it themselves for an intention? For we know that there are so many of you that will cause yourselves to suffer to get attention. You will cause yourself to suffer to get attention. And that is a very limited way of creation, but it is still your right to choose to do that if you wish. But that is the simple solution, is for this one to introduce a new emotion into their life. This emotion of healing, this emotion of wholeness, this emotion of beauty. Can you consider that for yourself? Can you consider in the darkest of your pain that you are fundamentally an extension of love? Can you consider in the darkness of your emotion that that emotion is not who you are, but that you could introduce the possibility that you are love, that you are beauty, that you are vitality? And these words I say to you have emotional quality bonded to them. I add this emotion to these words, and I bring these words into the body. I embody an emotion and an idea that affects matter, time, and space. Direct this one to do this, to fervently, repeatedly, deeply, profoundly, to bring in the emotional vitality of love, the emotional vitality of excitement, the emotional vitality of gratitude. Have them bring this in. They spend far too much time on their suffering, as is evidence for the duration. Simply offer them this with such a fervent intent. There is no room for anything other than the emotional result to match it. Wow, thank you, Daniela. That was great. Question from Chris. If a strong consciousness holds a specific energy, vibration to create a timeline, causing a type of truth to manifest from a place of love, how fast can this infinity loop manifest? Thanks. Instantly. She says instantly. Instantly. If the quality of this reality that you are considering, you remove all resistance to its possible existence, then its existence is inevitable. In the process of creation, something such as the articulation of aircraft or flight, this occurred when the emotional quality overrode the resistances in the existing mind to propel a new idea into manifestation. And the moment an emotional quality reaches a certain point in communication, then manifestation is inevitable. So these dimensional lines that you wish to cross with your consciousness cannot be crossed in consciousness with that biology. You don't have enough experience for that at this time. But those lines can be crossed with your consciousness. In other words, you close your eyes and you observe the thoughts and memories in your mind. You have shifted from a physical dimension to a non-physical dimension of what you call thought, or the astral realms of energy. You, as that consciousness that is hearing these words, can shift from this physical dimension to this non-physical dimension, and there are dimensions above that. And there are qualities of emotion that generate different experiences of what you call dimensional reality. The quality of emotion that has all of you experiencing this material realm the way you are experiencing it is a very specific emotional quality that allows this existing reality you call this earth to exist. The moment you fundamentally shift your perceptual awareness of the energy, you begin to fundamentally change the manifestation of time, space, and your experience of it. All of you have done this, where you go into a state of great joy and great love. The energy of your joy and love often accelerates time. And many of you have not quite grasped this understanding, just as your anger and your fear and your sadness reduce the speed of time. Very few of you understand how much control you have over time and space just from the quality and nature of emotional energies that you would choose to align your consciousness to. Many of you instead defer to the sensations of your body as the only baseline for understanding reality, and therefore you are limited to a baseline of the material world. But to begin to comprehend and understand that you have a conscious awareness that is independent with itself from the matter. It directs matter. Your awareness directs matter. You direct matter. That awareness allows you the step up away from subjectivity to it. So you're no longer simply governed by your experiential realm through the senses exclusively, but you may use your awareness that one step from matter to thought. Very few of you understand how profound that is. How profound it is that you can be perceiving a world of material reality through these 5 physical senses, and then close your eyes and be aware of the invisible realm of thought. You look at another person, you cannot see their thoughts, but this invisible realm, you can go there anytime, and that is but one of many dimensions that are available to you. Again, when you get into this realm of mind, many of you find yourself, again, bound to the constructs of that information in mind, and thereby only stuck within the confines of what you think you know is true or false, or what you've experienced or have not experienced. You come bound by that reality, and therefore unable to ascend to a higher reality. When I came through to this one, again, I did not come with much definition other than the name Astaete. And it is a name that has no real meaning or value to this one's consciousness or memory, so there was very little to interfere with what I would have to say through him. Please understand this, that realms of dimensional consciousness are available to those who are free to move among them. And many of you are bound by the flesh as if it is the only dimension of your experience. And many of you are bound by mind, thinking it is the only experience of your reality. And so you find yourself going back and forth, hitting the ceiling and hitting the floor all the time, but knowing at the same time there are other realities available to you. All of you know this. All of you know that your suffering is not the real world to you. You know there's a difference, but many of you do not understand how to move energy, how to utilize emotion in the act of creation in this physical realm. Wow. Thank you so much. Well, I think we got time for one more question. Very exciting for me, folks. Thank you. I want to say thank you to Astaete. I really love what they're saying about this conception that the moment we keep ourselves localized to the identity we have, we're bound to believe that what we are thinking and feeling is the only reality. And yet, how many times have you been in thoughts and emotions that don't feel good to you? This is because it's not who you are. Your emotions are something you can create. They're not something that you just arbitrarily possess. They are energies that react and interact with time, space, and matter. And again, I want to thank her for coming present with us today. Thank you so much. Question from Vertical. I am highly electrical. Flames exit from my fingertips, discharge from my lower arm or elbow. This is lasting a couple of years now. What is it? Great question. She's saying this is very exciting for you. The concern you have from our perspective is quite simple, that you are experiencing something that very few people deliberately experience. You wanted to understand how to manifest energy. you want to understand how to utilize the process of creation. And now you have evidence that somehow you've got this process started, but you don't know what to do with it. It's like someone jumping inside a vehicle they have never operated before and trying to operate it without any instruction manual. And I would say very simply to you, to learn to harness this energy in acts of deliberate creation. When you feel the sensation of these sparks of energy that you experience, these flames as you call them, if you understand that these are effects of emotionally quantitative considerations that are moving through your biology, for which you have no process of manifestation. In other words, you have nothing to place that energy into. I would say to you, choose what you would dream. Choose what you would dream. And when you feel this energy, bring that energy into the matrix, the construct of that dream. Allow the flow of energy to fill the energy of your dream, the ideational realm of it. And you will be in for a delightful surprise. But have no fear, because you are unique among many people on this planet with the ability to channel energies like that and to learn how to utilize that energy much the same way as they had to learn to control explosions to create your automobiles. They had to learn to control these explosions of energy. And you have this energy available to you to utilize in a deliberate act of creation. Is important you understand that there is a deliberate act of creation you can engage in now when you feel that energy. Simply, delightfully place that energy, that sensation, into the vision of what you would dream up in your world and witness the wonder of your energy manifesting. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you for your questions today, guys. So this Wednesday, March the 23rd, health and disease are your learning curve. And that's going to be with Archangel Raphael. What he's told me is he's going to talk about how the polarities of health and disease are actually learning tools that are given to everybody in the process of learning how to articulate their divine expression. That conditions of health and disease are polarities that afford each individual aware of that polarity the opportunity to learn to master creation from the experientiation of the human level in a biological condition. I'm really excited about that. That'll be this Wednesday. And then on Friday, March the 25th, we're going to have my guardian angel John coming in on what is forgiveness. What is forgiveness? That's going to be this Friday. And also in about 14 days from now, on April the 2nd, we begin our Mediumship 102 Master Class. And this is a program to help you master, to relinquish thoughts, emotions that no longer serve you, and to generate and create thoughts and emotions that will create for you. This master class will literally and has literally released suffering from so many people's lives and restored them on a path of creation as opposed to a path of survival. And 90% of humanity is living based on survival. Very few people are actually creating and designing their lives. Yes, thank you. So please understand, this is an opportunity of learning. Come and join the course. Mediumship 102 Masterclass. You can register on my website, williammichaelforbes.com. The link is in the description box below any of my videos. Go register for the 102 course today in advance. Have yourselves a wonderful, joy-filled day, and do something beautiful with your day today. I want to wish you all much love, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday.